Hi Capricorn, welcome to Pure Tarot. So it's your turn. We're doing a reading that I'm labeling Vectors of Beauty. The idea is to look at where beauty lies in your life, whether you're creating it, whether it's entering your life through all kinds of ways, right? All kinds of vectors, all kinds of avenues. I'll be drawing 5 cards to replicate the drawing that Venus does, as she circles the sun, right? She creates a 5-pointed star. Venus being the planet of beauty, of course. All the cards are going to be upright simply because we want to stay as positive as possible. Not necessarily looking things through rose-tinted glasses, but just to just no need to justify. So let's just dive in. I wonder if the card justice is gonna come out. That would be too funny. Anyway, Cappy, let's look at where beauty lies in your life. One last card, please, for Capricorn. Venus is in Capricorn, right, at the moment. She will soon leave Capricorn, but she was retrograde in Capricorn, so it's really interesting. I also see the 6 of Cups here, so I can't help but linking the fact that you would have revisited something about beauty, something linked to Venus, of course. Okay, 2 cards came out. I'm going to honor that. I'm going to put them side by side, which I've done for other signs. So there it goes. First card out, the 2 of Wands. Then we have the King of Swords. Oh, my bad. The Page of Swords. The 6 of Cups. The Queen of Pentacles, which could be or is your card, right? And then the King of Cups, along with the 10 of Wands here. Okay. So there's a deep sense of longing, right? On both these cards, the 2 of Wands and the 6 of Cups, there's some sort of quote-unquote waiting, or looking back at something, but definitely a pause where you would be, and really the eyes are important. I think your eyes are turned in a particular direction, right? So typically your eyes would be set on the future with the 2 of Wands, and yet you have the 6 of Cups, so maybe your eyes are turned towards the past. Or maybe both, right? Maybe you alternate between looking ahead and basically envisioning beauty, things of beauty, wanting more beauty in your life. I just got the, for some reason, I'm seeing like the 2 Wands as obviously like 2 posts, almost like, when you frame, like like a frame. When you, like in, how do you do in the movies, right? You put your hands like this and then you look through that as if this is what you would capture through your camera. So it gives me that impression that you're, in French we say cadré, right? You're putting a frame on something. Not to say that you're limiting anything, but simply, I guess it's a emphasized focus. Or also, it's a form of detailing, right? So let's say you have a bigger picture in front of you, and you want to capture only like a slice or a part of it, right? It feels like you're seeing wide, and yet you're able to point your attention to different. I have the word morsel. Like a piece, right? And yet, there's the opposite energy of looking back, but doing the same thing, right? Selecting particular memories where you're drawing again a special focus to these particular images. And again, I get the idea of, framing images. So stills, frames. Like on a negative, like, those old negatives from pictures, right? They're all like frames. Or like in movies, we say frame. This young child here is quite pensive, right? He's deep in thought, very deeply absorbed in his thoughts. And so is this lady here. Her eyes are closed. I think he's looking down, but you could almost say that his eyes are closed as well. I have the word in French, recueillir. That's like when you collect yourself, right? You go inward. So I feel like you've collected yourself to do both work, like the both, basically looking towards the future and then looking back as well, and probably linking the two, right? I think I sense there's obviously a thread, and there's a reason why you're going back and forth. So it could be, either you wish not to recreate certain memories from the past, bring them into your future. It's something that you consciously choose not to recreate, or the opposite. There are very specific things that you draw from your childhood, from your inner child here, which you actually draw into your future and need to utilize, or, make profitable. And I'm making profitable here with the Queen of Pentacles. I mean, you could even make it cha-ching, right? Like make it like a money thing. Make money off of it, right? Or with it. Like ideas, like talents, like particular skill set. Anything that you might have cultivated or been doing while you were younger, right? Something you really loved. it's not generalized, but a lot of people, when we're young, we like certain things and then we end up not doing those things when we're older. Life takes us somewhere else, right? And we end up paying bills through a different kind of endeavor or career choice or whatever you want to, however you want to say this. But sometimes we get out of touch with the things that ignited us when we were younger and that we did spontaneously, joyfully as well, right? It's interesting. This Queen of Wands is really, I love this halo. Really makes me think that her creative ideas are the money, are what generates the money, right? This woman, she's sort of, I don't know how to say this. She feels a little bit like at a standstill. She feels a little bit, okay, there's like two things. It's like she feels like she's in one place and she's not moving because her feet are very grounded, or they're planted in the ground. So there's a lot of strength in being firmly planted, yet there's some sort of inertia connected to that. The only positive thing is all this verticality where, there's a connection between the ground and the sky, right? And this is depicted from this sort of halo, golden halo here. And also, it's almost like by being planted here, she's like one of those flowers, right? She's sort of, she's a flower herself. It's funny, I just did Sag and there was a Queen of Wands and I used the word blooming, right? The Sagittarius was blooming into the Queen of Wands, whereas here the Queen of Pentacles is already in bloom. She's fully bloomed. There's something about being seasoned in a positive sense, right? It's really interesting. There's something to be said about this person's experience, your experience in this case, Capricorn, because I am attributing this card to you per se. I think in this particular reading, this is you. There's really an interconnection between the past and the future. And obviously the Queen of Pentacles here is the present, right? And it's the stillness that I was sensing. It's being in the here and now, fully connected, and yet being able to let the electrical current of past memories and future manifestations sort of oscillate and pass through you. And on this card, I mean, here the movement would be horizontal like this, right? From the past into the future. And yet the connection is actually vertical. It's really interesting. It makes me see that there's a cross. So maybe you're at a crossroads in life in terms of what you want to do. Maybe letters like X, T are important. Anything related to North Node, South Node would be important as well, right? And North Node is in Taurus at the moment, so I do invite you to look at where that falls in your chart, which house, and if it touches any planets or makes any aspects with any other planets in your chart. Because that would give you an indication of the money opportunity, like quite literally, in much detail, would definitely give you a leg up on where you need to direct your energy for that. If you're interested in making money, Capricorn, which is like, for me, it's a no-brainer, but hey, let me just emphasize that anyway. So let's look at these characters, these masculine characters here. We have the Page of Swords, and then this King of Cups. He does have the Ten of Wands attached to him, but it's really interesting. Here, this Page of Swords is not so much a person as I don't know. I'm getting the idea that this is the electrical current, right? The energy that is linking the past and the future. Because first of all, the sword is what pierces, right? So it's the idea that these ideas are traveling, so they're going through, and they're going through you in the present, so it's piercing you in a good way. It's also the idea that it's through the mind, through the ideas. I also feel, so it's a card of communication, right? Of language. So it'd be interesting, there's a connection, right, with the dialogue between the past and the future. There's an internal dialogue going on inside of you as well. You're not crazy if you talk to yourself. We all do. But that's not what I meant. And this internal dialogue doesn't have to be, doesn't have to take on a negative connotation. On the contrary. And it's not to say that you're all in your mind. This could be at a subtler level as well, right? It's simply like it's the current, it's the electrical current I was describing. It's the connection, basically. It's your internal, how you're connecting the dots inside of you between past events, future, like I said, what you wish to create, the beauty that you wish to attain, most probably. And then this King of Cups, I feel, is someone outside of you. You know, they are carrying quite a baggage, but this King of Cups is, you know, usually very even keel, so it's almost like it doesn't weigh on him as much necessarily, or at least it doesn't cripple him, quote unquote. Maybe he would benefit of eventually putting down his load, but I have no indication of when and how and where that will happen, but it's definitely a possibility in terms of maybe wanting to alleviate himself and maybe stay in his flow instead of adding on to it's interesting. It adds on to these loads, this baggage is it's funny, it's sort of giving him, like, you know, gallons, like, you know, when you say you're in the army and you get your ranks, right? All these wands are like achievements, right? They're things you've accomplished, they're things that you are actually doing, and that you can actually show the world that you're carrying this. This is what you're doing. This is what you are tackling at the moment, right? But you'd probably want to carry them on your sleeve, right, as something accomplished, but that you could probably say, oh, it's finished, it's done, I can actually put it to rest. So there's sort of an interplay here between, are you still carrying these particular projects and responsibilities and all these things that you are tackling? Are you still actively doing those things and carrying them and, you know, feeling slowed down or sort of hemmed down by them? Or are you carrying them on your sleeves as these are my accomplishments, this is my experience, this is who I am, this is what I've done, you know, sort of like almost like your CV, right? Your resume. Is that how you say resume? I think this King of Cups is much more interested in in the content of his cup, right? I think he just wants to be in his flow, really. Or at least it's his preferred place. Yeah, preferred place, preferred state of being. It's quite beautiful. It'd be an interesting mix with the King of Cups with this Queen of Pentacles. Let's say this is you, okay? Let's say the King of Cups is not outside of you, Capricorn. It tells me that you really need to get in touch with your emotions. Probably the emotions from the past, right? The ones that fulfilled you the most are the ones that you need to bring back, to bring forth. First and foremost, at least, they would be the ones that, you know, you would need to bring more water into your experience, water to your earth, right? To water that flower that you are. And not get dried out by all of these things that are weighing on you in terms of the chores, the duties, responsibilities, and the things that you perceive that are expected of you, which is quite an interesting thing, because then we're not necessarily talking about concrete things. It's what you think others require of you, or society at large, right? which is quite a trap. And that would feel very heavy. Whereas, you just want to get a touch of this beautiful emotional maturity. You know what I love? Look at this. It's like, let's say this is someone outside of you, Capricorn. This is who they once were, right? This beautiful child, very connected. And they've grown into this really, really handsome man, very deep, very loving. So it's a beautiful, if it's about you, Capricorn, this is the possibility of you bridging, this innocence into this maturity, emotional maturity. And that in itself is very, very beautiful. I love it. Maybe you need to research certain things. Once you get money-making ideas from, this sort of back and forth, maybe then you need to put in some research into that. So, oh, those are beautiful. All animals. I got 4 animals. I have the eagle. Wow, the eagle will go on the King of Cups. We have the snake. The snake is knowledge. That's definitely the Page of Swords. We have the seahorse, but now I'm conflicted. I think, okay, the eagle will go on the Queen of Pentacles, and then the seahorse will go on the King of Cups. And then we have the dove with the olive branch. This is the purity I was describing of the child. Oh, that's beautiful. Maybe this is your ability here, the eagle, to pierce, pierce your own ideas. It could also be, the beautiful, wide-ranging sight that you would have when you're looking at your future with the Two of Wands. It could also be this. Let's put it on the Two of Wands in terms of how far you're seeing ahead, right? It's really beautiful. There's definitely the idea, this knowledge, this research I was mentioning really came at, the snake just really made it apropos, Definitely explore that. I don't know, I find it interesting. I'm just gonna leave you on the idea that you have bloomed. Don't think that there's any more blooming to do. You've arrived. The road is not over. It hasn't ended, but you've arrived. You're in full bloom. I'll see you soon, Capricorn. Take care.